Rabbi Manis Friedman, thank God it's Tuesday. And today, more than ever, thank God it's Tuesday. Usually, I always say, thank God it's Tuesday, because this is the time we get to hear your soothing voice that carries so much wisdom and knowledge into our lives. But today, I want to say, thank God it's Tuesday doubly, because we've been anticipating this day of election that is apparently going to change our life one way or another. And obviously, we're praying that it's going to be for the good. And but we don't know, and that creates anxiety, that creates uncertainty, that creates fears, and someone is bound to be disappointed after today. So basically, what I would like...
Well, let's call it surprised. Everybody is going to be surprised. Everybody.
Oh, wow.
Because whatever you think is happening or is going to happen, you're in for a surprise. And it's going to be good. That's not the question.
You're smiling. I was going to say, you're smiling. We're hoping for a good surprise.
Yes. It will be surprisingly good. And don't get distracted. No matter what they say, no matter what happens, don't get distracted. It's going to be surprisingly good. It's the year of good surprises.
It feels good. I got to say, maybe just because we're already here, I don't know why, but for some reason today, the energy in the air is kind of exciting, and not in a bad way, thank God, not in a gloomy way. I mean, anticipation of something good. At least this is how I feel. And it's not necessarily that everybody else shares my feelings today. But please tell us more.
The worst thing you can do today is be sure. Because then you're not ready for the surprise. You got to be open to the surprise. The only thing we know for sure is that it's going to be good.
Are we going to find out today, or is it still going to keep on dragging on?
Who knows? Who knows? That's where the surprise comes in. How it happens and where it happens, and that's going to be surprising. But it's going to be good. There's no question. See, surprises means really something that has been there all along and we didn't notice. Nothing new has to happen. Nothing miraculous has to happen. We just have to see, finally, with our own eyes.
I think we're having...
Because the good has always been real. Evil you have to create. You have to corrupt nature to make things bad, because things are good. So good has always been there, waiting to be experienced, appreciated, revealed. So surprise means that which has been there all along and you didn't notice, all of a sudden you're going to notice.
That is very exciting.
I'm excited. It is an exciting year.
Rabbi Friedman, I don't want to talk politics or say who is good, who is bad, who stands for what, who stands for something else. It doesn't really matter. But the tendency that we have seen recently, it's just amazing. Amazing. There's a definite split of positivity and negativity. People coming out, uniting in with positive emotions, with hope, with and you can see just light coming in those gatherings. And that is very, very exciting. And I have to recap a little bit. Like today is the final countdown. So I'd like to count down to a little bit of the shows that we had together. And I am very, very amazed. And I would like to recap the things that you have said that have absolutely took place, which of course is mind-boggling. So I'm doing this on purpose right now, so people get inspired. But by what you're saying it's going to be good. It's going to be a surprise. Get ready to be surprised. And I want people to believe it. And the way I think everybody can and should believe is because everything you've been saying 6 months ago is exactly what is happening. The separation of good and evil. You said it way before even the riots. And now everybody is just repeating everything that you have said initially, which sounded, a little bit premature then, but everybody now is saying it's a definite separation of good and evil. This is the time of our lives. You called it about 6-7 months ago, which we really, really appreciate. So, obviously, it's the knowledge, the Torah knowledge that you possess. Even today, I was mind-boggled because the parsha of the Torah is about Sodom being destroyed. How can we maybe tie it into today's day, the election day, and the evil being destroyed during those biblical times?
That's a rather sober consideration. It's I think very good news that what happened back then in biblical times was very physical. The flood, very physical. The destruction of Sodom, very physical. Because the evil back then was very tangible, very substantial, and it needed to be destroyed with fire and brimstone and all sorts of stuff. It took a lot to destroy that evil. Like the snake with many heads. So it was physically very violent. But thank God we've made some progress. The evil today is not so substantial. It's 90% ignorance and 10% hysterics or desperation. So it doesn't need physical destruction. Just an adjustment in the way we're thinking and the way we're operating. So the destruction of evil today is not a physical thing. It's an ideological thing. So it's only a matter of fine-tuning our thinking. And people who are fanatical on either side are just as likely to switch and become fanatical on the other side. Because that's what happens. People who are intensely negative, when they have a change of heart, they don't become moderately positive. They become intensely positive, because that's how they do things. So this hysterics and this desperation and this fanaticism about politics, about health, about the environment, really fanatical. If it gets adjusted, if it gets turned to the right direction, it can be awesomely good, not just ordinary good. So it used to be that only religious people were fanatical. Now the religious people seem to be the most moderate, the least fanatical, because fanaticism has taken over everything. And what that means is desperation. People become fanatical, usually out of desperation. So what is the desperation? What are people desperate for? More money? More government? More science? All of these things have disappointed us. Even religion. What a disappointment. So what's left? What people want is meaning, purpose. Why? What for? We're trying so hard. We're looking so desperately for an answer. What for? What is it all about? People will say, if the election goes the way I don't want it to go, I'm going to leave this country. I'm going to run away. Why? What is your desperation? And what are you going to find in another country? You can't run away from the question. The question of why am I here? Why am I here? Whether life is going well or life is difficult, it's the same question. You can't run away from it and you can't hide from it. You can't change locations and hope that that's going to answer your question, because it won't. And that's why the desperation. The answer is in the Torah. But you have to understand the Torah. So the Torah says that there will be a long time when God's face will be hidden behind a mask. Literally, that's what it says. God's face is masked so that we would have freedom of choice, so that the world can imagine itself independent and therefore make choices independently. But that mask has got to come off sooner or later. God didn't create the world that's going to force him to wear a mask for the rest of time. It's got to be temporary. So it's been 2,000 years that God has been wearing a mask. It's not comfortable to wear a mask, as we all know. May not even be healthy. So it's time to take off the mask. When God takes off the mask, we won't need a mask. So how do we get God to take off his mask? Get to know him. Once we know him, he doesn't have to hide anymore, because we got to know him by our free choice. He's not going to force himself on us. He's not going to impose. He didn't wait this long, giving us time to mature and grow up, to just force us at the end. So we have to do it by our own free choice. Get to know God, because we realize that that's all that there is to life. To know the Creator means to know the purpose for which he became the Creator. It's really quite simple and logical, not religious. We are here. We weren't always here. So what happened? What caused us to be here? We need to know. And saying there was a Big Bang, that doesn't tell me anything. I still don't know why I'm here. It started 16 billion years ago, 8 billion years ago, 30 billion years. You're not answering my question. My question is why. That's all I need to know. And it makes so much sense. If I am a creation, then I have only one question. Why did you create me? And when a creation knows why it was created, then life is sweet. Life is marvelous, wonderful, meaningful. That's all we want. Make my life meaningful. I'll fill in the rest. I'll do what I'm created to do. But tell me, what was I created to do?
Rabbi
Doesn't that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. And the question that also comes out of it is, why do we constantly take the wrong turns? I mean, we took such a wrong turn So we needed a flood. We took a terrible wrong turn, and Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. We kind of took a wrong turn now too, big time.
Well, it's the struggle between independence and service. Am I here to serve someone, or am I here to be me? That's the big struggle. And it's a life experience as well. When you're a child, your struggle is to attain independence. Don't tell me what to do. Let me decide. Even 3-year-olds. No, let me do it. It's good. So the flood and the destruction of Sodom, and that is our childhood, our infancy, when we desperately needed to be independent or to prove our independence. And that eventually has to stop. There are certain things that are childlike that should never stop. You never outgrow it. On the contrary, you grow into it. Like the innocence of a child, the enjoyment of life, the enthusiasm for everything they come across, that you should never outgrow. The childlike purity, the childlike innocence, the childlike enthusiasm. Somebody once said about the Rebbe, in the early years, he was from a different Hasidic group, and he came to visit the Rebbe, and he came back to his own group, and he said, he is so smart. You can't get around him. But when it comes to his faith, he's such a child. He's so childlike. So there are certain things you don't want to outgrow. But then there are the things that are childish. The sooner we outgrow that, the better. So this desperate need for independence to prove that I can do it myself, you outgrow that eventually. Maybe not if you're Frank Sinatra and you have to do it my way. But other than that, you want to get past that. And that has to end completely. You can't improve on it. That's the idea of the flood. The flood meant whatever was going on in life until then couldn't improve. It had to stop and start something different. So we've had our independence. We've proven our independence. We've enjoyed our independence, and now we're starting to hate it. Don't tell me to do it my way. I don't have a way. I don't have a purpose. I'm a creation, not a creator. A creation cannot produce a purpose. Only a creator can do that. So now we're starting almost to despise our own independence. We want to know what our creator is thinking, what our creator needs, and how I can serve him. So there are people who are still in their childish stage. But we need to move on.
You know, Rabbi Friedman, it's amazing what you just said, because as a parent, as a young parent, I always wanted to be cool for my children. I always wanted to do things that will make it so much fun for them and give them freedoms and everything. And I saw how much happier they were when they were around their grandparents who did everything on time, on schedule, by the rules. And the children always seem to appreciate that structure so much more than the freedoms and of spending time with us, the parents. So I think this is a little bit of, making it simple, what you just said.
That's an interesting thought.
that truly we do want rules and truly we do want structure.
Yes, and I think that teenage rebellion that often turns ugly. I hate my mother, I hate my family. What it really is, I want to be independent of my mother so that I can love her and serve her like a mensch, like an independent person. So I'm not trying to get away from my mother. I'm trying to grow up to be able to have a mother. Because until I grow up, I'm dependent on my mother. I don't want to be dependent. I want to be independent so I can really be good to her like a intelligent human being. So we're not trying to break away from family. We need the independence so that we can get closer to our family. I just saw a very interesting commentary. I don't know, it's amazing how things happen at the right time and the right place. I don't understand how I missed this commentary all these years. It's right there. And yet it never presented itself. It never jumped off the page at me. But now it did. The first human being, Adam, was male and female. Physically. The body of Adam was both male and female. Because that's perfect. But then God separated them in one of the most famous stories in history. God separated Adam and Chava, and they became two people. And then God said to them, get married and become one. And the obvious question is, they were one. God separates them and tells them to become one through marriage. What was wrong with the oneness they had already? So the most popular conventional answer is, God wants us to be one through our own decision, choice, and effort. So he gave it to us originally as a gift by creating Adam, male and female. But then he said, no, you want to do this to your own credit. So I will separate you and you will become one by free choice. You'll find somebody to marry, you will merge with each other, and you will become one again. That's the conventional answer. The answer I just saw in the commentary is, they were one physically, back to back, like two sides of a coin. One side was male, the other side was female, but they were connected back to back. God separated them and said, get married and become one, this time face to face. That is so romantic. That is so amazing. Face to face. Much more intimate, much more personal than back to back. Back to back is almost guaranteed to bring friction, tension, because you're facing opposite directions. So let's say one part of you says, okay, let's go. Well, which way are you going? So if you're connected back to back, which happens in marriages, people get married, but not face to face. Back to back. Meaning they're each seeing their objective and their goal as an opposite direction. He wants what's best for him. She wants what's best for her. So they're unfortunately connected, but they hate it. When you're connected face to face means internally you're looking at each other not in opposite directions. And that's the relationship with God. Religion has created a relationship with God that is back to back. God wants us to be good. We want to be bad. It's tension, it's friction, it's pulling in opposite directions. So if you want to be on the same page with God, you have to give up everything. You got to turn around and face the wrong direction, wrong in your nature. So you have to suffer, and you have to get punished, and you have to sacrifice, and somebody's going to have to die. That's religion. Religion sets up a conflict between two inseparable entities. We can't be without God, and God can't be without us, but we're back to back. Torah turns everything inward, face to face. But you got to take the mask off. Taking off the mask means let yourself be known and get to know him. Let him see you, and he'll let you see him. And that means find out what he wants, because you're facing him. And then you feel completely comfortable serving him because it's not in conflict with who you are. You're not facing the opposite direction. So it is in your nature to serve him, to be there for him. It makes you who you really are. No sacrifices, no compromises, no need for any of that. It is your nature to be the creation. Stop trying to be the creator. You're facing your creator. Just ask him what he wants. It really sounds so simple, doesn't it?
I just want to know if we're there yet.
Well, the Torah said, Moshe says to the people, before he passes away, he says, what God is asking for is not otherworldly. So you don't need someone to go up to heaven to bring God's will down to earth. And what God is asking for is not on the other side of the ocean. You don't need somebody to cross the ocean and come back and bring you the news. It is in your nature to serve him. Now we understand it, maybe for the first time. How is it in your nature to serve him? It's because you are created, not a creator. The nature of a creation is that it serves a purpose. The nature of a creator is that he has a purpose. I mean, this is like Judaism 101.
There's so many things that are so obvious, but yet so hard to implement, even though, well, like so many things in life. So, Rabbi Friedman, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Oh.
Is that possible to do? Actually, I don't know. Let's see.
You can do it, because there's always the Fifth Amendment.
Okay. The last time we had the honor of having you in our studio in person was in January. And in January, right after the program, we had an amazing conversation that blew my mind and keeps blowing my mind till this day, where you calmly said, the world is in for a surprise. We have it on record. You said the world is in for a surprise and no one can even imagine what we're up against. And this was back in January, and boy, did we really not have a clue on any level that this is going to be what this has happened to be. Rabbi Friedman, now you're saying we're in for another surprise, or is this the continuation of the first surprise?
It seems like a seamless continuation. The surprises haven't stopped even for a day. But the surprises are going to be much more revealed, obvious. The surprises until now have been mysterious. We don't understand why it's happening, how it's happening, what's happening. But from now on, the surprises will be revelatory instead of mysterious. And that's what we're going to see, what was there all along and never noticed.
Wow.
So it's always been so simple. You're the creation, not the creator. Well, what does that tell you? The first thing it does is it takes the pressure off. It's not your world, your life, and your body. And therefore, all the pressure is on you to do the right thing, to accomplish great things. And if you don't do it, you're guilty and you'll get punished or you'll be rewarded. All the weight and all the pressure is on me. And that doesn't work because it's not true. Pressure is not on me. It's not my world. It's not my creation. It's not my plan. It's not my life. And it's not my body. What a relief. Now the question is, if it's not mine, then whose is it? Find the answer, and you are home free. That's it. It's been there all along, and we just never noticed.
All of us, even the ones who've been seeking?
Yeah, because trying to prove that there's a creator has kept people busy like for 3,000 years. Can you prove it? You can't prove it. I don't believe it. I do believe it. You don't need to do that. All you need to say is, I'm not the creator. Is that too hard to say? Is that too big a confession?
Is that enough to say?
Yes. If I'm not the creator, all the pressure is off of me. Now I just need to find out what I'm doing here. But you don't need to prove that there is a creator. You just have to recognize that it's not you. The rest falls into place. The world is ready for this.
Seems to be. Rabbi Friedman, I'm going to ask something probably that I shouldn't be asking. When? When are we going to see all this revealed goodness?
You're seeing it. We just need to see a lot more. So every day you will see more and more and more. Every hour, if we had access to the information. But that's what's happening. By the hour, the world is getting better. One person after another, everywhere in the world is saying, I didn't create this. Nope, it's not me. Then I guess it doesn't have to be my way. In fact, it shouldn't be my way. God forbid it should be my way. My way is not good. So, by the hour, the world is getting better. People are maturing. People are realizing the truth is becoming more and more obvious. And it has nothing to do with politics and has nothing to do with religion, has nothing to do with money. It has to do with a creator. And I'm not him.
Rabbi Friedman, I don't mean to put a damper on this incredibly positive conversation.
You can't.
I'm glad. I'm into that. Glad. I don't want to. But yet, still, terrible things are happening in the world. What is happening in Austria? What is happening in Belarus? What is happening in Armenia? What is happening? Everywhere you look, there are terrible things happening. And yet you have...
How do you know? How do you know? How do you know what's happening in Armenia?
We read about it.
So first you have to believe it, which is kind of questionable. Secondly, why the focus on all these bad things? Who is it who wakes up in the morning and goes searching for what bad is happening anywhere in the world so I can frighten everybody and make everybody depressed? Why the focus? Yes, something bad happened in Armenia. Okay. But something good is happening everywhere. So if it's not in the news, it's because it is so common. The bad is in the news because it's becoming so uncommon. See, you can't ruin it.
I don't want to. I really do not. But when you see so much injustice still, I know. This is what comes up. I mean, we know what floats up first, but
yeah. So, first of all, is it true? Second of all, is it to that degree? And third of all, why are you giving it so much attention? Is this new?
No, but it involves people who are getting hurt, and this is the hurtful part.
Yes. But you're calling it news. There's nothing new about it. Tell me something new. And a lot of new stuff is happening. But I've said this before. When good news makes it to the news, you'll know Mashiach is here. Good news in the news. That's all.
Well, definitely always on the lookout for that. In fact, searching hard every single day.
So surprisingly, the first good news that is going to appear in the news is the coming of Mashiach. Like the ultimate good news will make it to the news.
And everyone is going to recognize it. Won't be able to miss it.
Well, just the fact that it's in the news tells you this must be Mashiach. When CNN gives good news, you know Mashiach is here.
Rabbi Friedman, what should we be on the lookout for? How can we shift our perspective to see more positive and to...
Look around. Mm-hmm. Look around. Not in the news, in your life. First of all, you'll see opportunity to make good news. Really, our job is to create good news. Whether it's reported or not, it's got to be there. So our job is to create good news. And if you look around, you'll see so many opportunities. And then you'll see people who are actually taking advantage of those opportunities and are producing good news. It's happening everywhere. It's not dramatic because we've been brainwashed into believing that only bad news is dramatic. Good news is cute, it's okay. But where's the drama? If there are no guns involved, how dramatic can it be? Very sad. And very frightening because children are growing up not knowing any other way of thinking. To them, it is a law of nature. Excitement involves guns. That's it. The story of life. According to the video games. So it's very, very irresponsible of the adult world to allow children to grow up with that impression. And that's why the coming of Mashiach will be the only thing that breaks through all of that and makes it to the news. But it's happening all the time. everywhere. The thing is not to sit around passively waiting, because that itself can be depressing. We got to get active. If you really want to be ambitious, a good deed per hour. You know, sadly, there are people who have to take a pill every hour just to stay calm. They don't even have a serious disease. But there are people who are on medication who need to take it every hour. If we could do a good deed every hour, do something holy, do something good, do something kind every hour. Wow. That's ambitious. How about every day? What good have you accomplished today so far?
Rabbi Friedman, it's also very important to understand what that good is. Sometimes,
yeah.
If you can help us with that, please.
No, you're right. Everybody has their own opinion about what's good and what's kind and what's holy. But live up to your own expectations. That would be good too. And then with time, your expectations will rise and you live up to those expectations. But everybody has their little frustrations. You know, I should have, I ought to, or I knew I shouldn't have. My better judgment told me not to, but I didn't listen. So we all have values and ideology that is better than what we are today. So live up to your own set of values, even if they're not 100% correct. So we take away the excuse of, but I don't know what's right. You know what is more right than what you're doing now, so do it.
It seems like the problem with today's world is that confusion of right and wrong. So there's no same standards for everyone of that understanding.
Right, that's why I'm eliminating that roadblock. Don't get stuck there. Oh, what is the truth? Okay, that's fine. We'll have that conversation and in our spare time. Right now, go do something good. And don't tell me you can't think of a single good thing. Come on. If we're going to be good, it has to be unconditional, which means now. Not if and when I discover some deep, profound philosophy. Now. If you can't be good now, you're not trying. We spoke about this in one of our early programs. Every revolution wanted to make things better. Every revolution. The only problem was that they were going to make things better as soon as they adjust one little thing. Like kill off half the population. Execute all the bad guys in town, and then everything will be good. As soon as you put a condition on your revolution, we know it's not going to be good. If you have a good idea and you want to bring something revolutionary good, start now. Don't give me a condition. We can't do it under the present government. We can't do it under the present circumstances. We can't do it here. We can't do it now. Soon. No. This is not going to be a good revolution. That's what the Rebbe's revolution was. Hello, you got a minute? Here, do a mitzvah. Here, now, unconditional. That will never turn out to be bad.
I think pretty much that's what we've been seeing, at least in the last couple of days, with so many people getting together, standing up for their values, together standing up for the good. Whoever believes in what, that's not what we're talking about. But still, everybody is getting together because they want that common good. And this is what we saw a lot. And that was extremely inspirational. And I so hope we'll see so much more of it. And we'll see so much more goodness. And of course, Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much for these words of inspiration, for these, for the positivity, for this influx of light and hope. And, every week, this is a tremendous honor to spend this time with you, and we thank you so much for that opportunity.
Don't be frightened. That's the message. And what's going to happen after the elections is is there going to be riots? Are there going to be violence? Don't get frightened. We're going in a good direction. And whatever resistance there is to goodness, it'll pass quickly. Stay the course.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman. Thank you. Everybody, you heard Rabbi Friedman. Let's just go out there and do a lot of good together. Thank you so much.